going. Oh, hi! Welcome to Minoyan. Say hi, elderly! He says hi. Wait, no, he didn't. So, this week, or last week, I had a list of things to write, and I totally didn't write any of them in the letter because I didn't have time because I had to read a lot of stuff. So, I'm going to make a little video real quick about what happened. I have my little list right here. So, things to write about, but now to talk about. Living off of cup of noodles and every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So for the past 3-4 weeks now, we don't have any gas, or actually it's been months, but we don't have any gas to make fire. So when we cook food, we have to use the either charcoal or we have to use the rice cooker. And my battery's low again. I'm sorry. And so it's really hard to cook anything. The only thing you can really do is boil water, and anything that you can cook doing that. So we've cooked hot dogs by boiling them. And then boil water and put it in a cup of noodles. And that's literally been our food because we don't have any dinner appointments here in Minoyan. We got nothing. And so that's all we eat. That's literally all we got. And I don't know how we're alive right now because that's literally one of the most unhealthy things that you can possibly do. But that's why I named it living off of that and every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Like I said in the New Testament, because that's what we're doing. We're healthy, we're not fat. Look at me. Still skinny. And so is Elder Lee. And we're not hungry ever. We're not out of energy. And we eat crap food all the time. We have like a whole fridge of just crap food. And yeah, that's it. So we've just been living off that. Oh, I just threw my list. What's the next thing? So it's quite the miracle that we're still alive. Mom, don't freak out. I'm fine. You don't need to chastise me about eating unhealthy because we're alive. And then the other day there was this little kid named Mako, and he's about. So we asked him how old he was, and he says he's 6 months old. We're like, 6 months? You're 6 months old? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you mean 6 years? He's like, no, I mean 6 months. And so I guess he was 6 months old. He looks about 6 years old though. And that's loud. And anyways, so yeah, we were just walking down to one of our areas, and then this little kid Mako comes up and he's talking to us. He says he's 6 months old, and then he's talking about, he's like, yeah, I live over next to this one waterfall, part of the Mambukal resort. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Do you guys have a lot of Americans over there that pass by to go to the resort? And he's like, yeah, I see Americans all the time. It's so crazy. They're so white and so tall. Like, wow, that's crazy. You're so lucky you get to see Americans all the time. We never see Americans. He's like, yeah, it's really cool. It's crazy how white they are. I'm like, yeah, that's nuts. And so he didn't really realize that we were American. And so then I'm like, yeah, but look at us. We're Filipino. We're brown. Yeah, Pinoys. Woo! And so it was really funny. He thought we were Filipino, and we're not. Didn't even realize that we were American. I don't know how. I guess we're blending in more here, or getting tan, one of the two. Earthquake we didn't feel. So there was an earthquake the other day. It was like a 6.5 earthquake in Iloilo, which is the island next to us, and it was huge. And it made all the power of the entire island go out, of our island. And so it affected us, but we didn't feel it. The time that it hit, like we got a text, and it said it hit at like 4:05 p.m. And when we were at 4:05, we were teaching a lesson to a bunch of investigators, and we were just like sitting in their house, like on cement, like on this cement bench thing. And so if anyone was gonna feel it, it was us, because it was like quiet. We were teaching a spiritual lesson, but we didn't feel anything. So I don't know if it's because they're in the mountains. But Iloilo is really close. You can see Iloilo across the way. You can see down to Bacolod from the mountain that we're in. Then you can see the ocean, and then you can see Iloilo. So I don't know how we didn't feel it, but anyways, I'm going to cut this one real quick and then do another one. Okay. So the other ones, the other day we're teaching this lesson, and Elder Lee, do you want to tell the story? Hey, Elder Lee. Hey, you're the worst, you know that? Yeah, he's the worst. So he's giving this million peso parable. Hey, why don't you ever talk? He doesn't know how to speak English. So he's giving this million peso parable. So he relates the gospel to 1,000,000 pesos. He said if you ever have like 1,000,000 pesos, like somebody comes up to you and gives you 1,000,000 pesos, wouldn't you want it? Like, isn't that awesome? And then this Nana that we're teaching is like, this is the first lesson. She's like, no, because that's money, and money is an earthly thing, and it has no worth to me. And so he's like, yeah, that's right, but isn't that still good? Like, you want 1,000,000 pesos, right? And she's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but like, I have no desire for it because it's like it's an earthly thing. Like, it's not a big deal. And so he tried to give this really good parable about 1,000,000 pesos, but it failed. So he was pretty mad about that. He swears that if he gives it to anyone else, if he tells that parable, then they will understand it. I don't believe it. Neither does he. Next section, kicking toads. Every time that we're walking to an area and we see a toad, which there's a lot of them here, they range from bigger than my hand to like this big. And so every time we see a toad, we just stop in the middle of the road, and usually Elder Lee goes up and he just punts it. Because for some reason, when you're going at it to kick it, it jumps at the same time. So when you kick it, it goes like 50 feet in the air. So every time he kicks one that goes high into the air, he starts singing the High School Musical song, soaring, flying. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun doing that. Oh, wow, now he speaks. Yeah, screw you. The other one was teaching a Sunday school, always. Literally for the past 3 months, me or one of my companions, Elder Lee or Dela Cruz, have been teaching not only Sunday school, but also Relief Society and the other one combined. It's a combined class. And then the the sacrament. And so we've taught in every single one of those, not all at once. We've done 2 at a time before, but we literally have our ward or our branch is terrible. They never plan who's teaching. They always come up right when we arrived at church. They're like, "Hey, Elder, you're going to be teaching today about this topic, okay?" And we're like, "Wow, okay, thanks. I guess." And so we just have to give an hour lesson with no preparation. We've done it a lot, and we've been really successful at it. But it just literally for the past 2 to 3 months, it's insane, and it's so annoying. So Felix, the guy who's in charge of picking who talks and all this stuff, he's like the first counselor or something. He came up to Elder Lee today. He's like, "Hey, so you're going to be teaching about this and blah blah blah," and we just stop him. We're like, "No, like where's your teacher? Like, I mean, of course we don't want to say no, but for the past 2 months, we've been teaching. Like, who's your teacher?" And he's like, "Oh, well, there is no teacher, but if there's no teacher." Because like I don't know what the deal is, but he's like, "Oh, it's either me or it's these 2 other guys." I'm like, "Well, all 3 of you guys are here right now. Like, why don't one of you guys teach?" And so we got him to teach instead, but still, he asked for so much assistance from us. It was like a half and half thing because I was talking half the time. But yeah, so that was really annoying. And church starts at 9, but for the past few days or for a few weeks, it started at like 10:30 because not only are the members late, but the leaders are late. And so I chastised the crap out of them during sacrament meeting one time when I went up and talked. And then I even got the stake president to come to our branch and fix things up a little bit because it's a problem. And there was also no power for 2 weeks because the branch president forgot to pay the power bill. And so that was not okay. And so there's a lot of crap. The leaders aren't good. I mean, of course we sustain them, but it's just I had to get a hold of the stake president to kind of fix things up. And so they're a bit better now. But our president is just obviously he's trying, and we're trying to help him a lot. But it's just like not really how things should run. It's not smooth. It's a very rough process. But we're trying to help him. And yeah, that's what happened last week. This week, the only thing that happened to us. So he had a meeting to go to because he's a zone leader. And so he had to go to Bacolod. And so I'm only a district leader, so I didn't go to that. But the other zone leader, because there's 2 of them, gosh, it sprayed on me. Blah. Now I smell like bug spray. So it's in a different area, Paglaum. And so I went to Baglaum, and me and the other guy's companion went on splits, while the other two went to Bacolod. So I was in Paglaum for what was supposed to be a day, so I went press hunting for a whole day with him, Elder Sellers, and he's from Virginia, I think. And it smells so bad. Don't ever burn bug spray like that, it smells. And so, yeah, I went on splits with him, and it was great. But then I get a text later that night. Hey, it's from Elder Lee. He says, hey, by the way, we're in the hospital, so we're just going to be staying here tonight, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, what the crap happened? And he's like, oh, I think I have dengue, blah, 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 like all this stuff. And so we didn't know what was going on. So I slept another night there in Paglaum, and then the next day at like 1:30 they finally got there, and he just had the hardest time. He was like in Bacolod for like right after the meetings that they had. He laid in the office, like on this bed in the nurse's office thing, and just laid there and like couldn't get up, and like his like muscles were shaking, and like he literally had all the symptoms of dengue. He had like the pain behind his eyes, he had the headaches, he had the rashes, he had the stomach that was hurting, no energy, his bones hurt, could barely walk, so it was bad. But when they went to the hospital, they said it's not dengue. You kind of just have everything that dengue usually has, except for bleeding from the nose and ears. And so, yeah, that really sucked. So we got home on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday. And he slept for the rest of the day while I studied, because he couldn't really get up and move. But then the next day, even though he was like super tired and could barely move, and he had like this cold sweat thing where like he'd sweat but it was cold, so he didn't really sleep well that night. But we went out and worked anyways, and so he was getting a lot better. And you're pretty much fine today, right? Yeah, he's pretty much fine today, so he's good now. So we only had one full day to work in our area, which was Saturday, because on Friday we had an interview to go to in Mercia, one of the areas, and so we didn't get to work our full day either. So our area isn't dying, but it wasn't as healthy as it should be right now. And we're trying to set up weekly baptizing, which should be fun if we can get that down. We're hoping it works. But yeah, and the work's going great. Elder Lee's a turd. Yeah, okay. And yeah, that's about it. That happened this week and last week. My battery's about to die. So, thanks for watching this episode of Hammock Elder Steffen. It would have been better if it was Hammock Hunter, but I guess I'm Elder Steffen now. And you have any dugong? He's got none. Well, I will try to write a little letter tomorrow, and I will see you on the next episode of Hammock Hunters. Alright, so I'm making Elder Lee talk to you. Okay, hey, you idiot! Because now you're all going to think he's a weirdo, and he is a weirdo. Hey, don't go in there! No! Say hi to my family.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Say hi, you wank. Give me my ball.
Wait, you have a family?
No, you don't either. Say hi.
Wait, go.
No, you're not shy. Stop speaking Ilonggo. He can barely speak English.
Yeah, I bet.
He's been here for so long. Hey, wait. You have to... No.
Kita mo ni.